Hey, what's going on, guys? What's going on? I hope you guys are having a good day. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and guess what? I have a surprise for y'all. I went to go see this movie called Black Panther 2, and I decided that I would do a review of the film and kind of let you know just in terms of what intelligent Black people can expect when they go see the movie. I have some mixed thoughts, and I'm going to share them with you in a very honest fashion. So get comfortable, buck up a seatbelt. We're going to get started on drboycetv.com right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I want to say what's up to everybody. I hope you guys are having a good day. It's so good to see you. And let me just ask you all a question. I'm going to start off as you hit the thumbs up button and shout out the city. Let me know what city you're from, by the way. What city are you from? I see Elizabeth is from New Haven, Connecticut. Terrence is from Rhode Island. My name is Corey. He's out of Baltimore. Good to see you. Let me know what cities you're from. What's up on Instagram? You're asking about FTX. Yes, I did some stuff on the Black Financial Channel about FTX. That is a really interesting crypto story that I think everybody should pay attention to. I see New York, Boston, Chicago, Pensacola, Goldsboro, Atlanta, Kansas City. Maybe it's KCK, maybe KC-Mo. I love you both. Houston, Atlanta, Baltimore, New Orleans, ATL, Miami, Dallas, Hempstead, New York, New Orleans. What's going on, everybody? And also, congratulations to Keisha Ravenel and her awesome husband, Jedediah. Keisha and Jedediah just got married in New Rochelle, New York, the home of the one and only great Professor James Small. And he's, in my mind, he's the king of that city. And Keisha and Jedediah made me very proud because they met each other at the All Black National Convention. My wife did a speed dating event. They met each other. Next thing you know, they're getting married. So I want to say congratulations to them. I'm super happy for them. Now, how many of you, give me a yes or no. How many of you watched the Black Panther 2? How many of you, give me a yes or no in the chat. How many of you saw the Black Panther 2? And if you haven't seen it, just mention that you are planning to see it. How many of you have gone out to the theater to check it out? Now, somebody's asking me to talk about it with no spoilers. I'll talk about it with no spoilers. And so one big spoiler is that some of you were surprised when I told you that I actually went to go see it. And let me tell you why I went to go see it. Now, here's the thing. I did a commentary about the trailer. And in that trailer, where I'm trying to be fair because I love Ryan Coogler, I love all the actors and actresses in the film. I like Marvel movies. Even when all the heroes are white, I go see Marvel movies. That's the kind of geek I am. So I'm a big fan of Marvel. I'm a stockholder in Disney. I love it when our company makes money. See, it's our company. It's partly my company because that's what happens. When you buy stock, you are an owner of that business. So that's how you become a business owner. Go buy you some stock. So I'm cool with Disney making the movies they're going to make their money. I'm cool with Marvel movies. I love the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe. I've seen probably 20 or 30 films in that universe. I'm cool with the Black actors and actresses and directors and producers who are doing well because of this film. I want to make that 100% clear because sometimes when you come in and you give people truth, they can't handle the truth because you're not telling them everything that they want to hear all the time. You understand what I mean? Like, we live in a world where people see things in black and white, and I just don't see the world that way. I see everything in shades of gray. In fact, let me give you an example. I love my 2 greatest heroes of all time are Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X. Those are my 2 top heroes of all time. But if you said, Boyce, I want you to give a critique of the life of Malcolm X and the mistakes that he made, I could lay it out in such a way that you would walk away thinking, damn, Dr. Boyce hates Malcolm X. He thinks Malcolm X is stupid. No, that's not true. He's one of my greatest heroes of all time. He's right. Muhammad Ali, same thing. I love these guys. But if I was to tell you the things that I'm, when I look at their lives and analyze their lives and point out the things that bother me or mistakes I think that they made, you would think I didn't like those guys. Right. And this is important. This is where sometimes there's a disconnect, because you guys know I'm from academia. I taught at Syracuse University 13 years, Ohio State, all that stuff. So I think in a different way. In academia, you engage in this thing that is not very popular in our society called critical analysis. Critical analysis is where you look at something and you see everything. You don't just see what you want to see. You don't just hear what you want to hear. There's no such thing as perfect. You just see it and you break it down and you try to understand it. So when I look at the Black Panther movie and I looked at the trailer, I was really kind of doing critical analysis. I was sitting there saying, I'm a huge fan of Black Panther. I'm a huge fan of Marvel movies. I'm a huge fan of Black people. I'm a huge fan of Disney. But there's something about this film that tells you that maybe there's an agenda in Hollywood that almost seeks to marginalize or kind of push the straight Black male to the side. Does anybody else notice this? Give me a yes or no. Give me a yes or no if you've noticed anything kind of weird, kind of gooky, freaky, strange in Hollywood, where there is this weird effort to almost take the leadership of the Black male or whatever it is that we claim to have and kind of like push that to the side. And it spills over into politics. You know, whenever a Democrat doesn't get elected and they do all these news stories about how it's Black men's fault. I'm like, why the hell are you blaming me? I don't owe you shit. I don't owe you my vote. I don't owe you. You didn't do your vote. My vote is not your birthright, asshole. Like, so how dare you tell me what I'm supposed to do, who I'm supposed to vote for? I'm going to make that decision. The king of the place called Boyce Watkins' life is me. I'm King T'Challa up in this bitch. You're not going to tell me what to do with my vote. You're not going to tell me what to do with my kids. You're not going to tell me what to do with my money. That ain't happening today. Now, if you want to try to persuade me, I'm open for persuasion. Sure, talk me into it. Entice me. You know, bring something to the table. But if you can't do that, then shut up. Shut up. So I'm going to tell y'all the truth. You know, there's a part of me where as a Black man, my spidey senses go up when I look at the nonsense that comes out of Hollywood, because I understand how oppression works. The way oppression works is you take the strongest members of the community, the ones that think the most. The people you get rid of the scholars, because they're going to ask the hard questions. The second thing is you get rid of the men, because the men are the natural protectors. If you take the father away, then the daughter and the mother are kind of open season. R. Kelly wasn't able to really get a hold of a lot of girls that lived in the families of strong Black fathers. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of those girls had daddies, and shame on the daddies that let that happen. I know that my daddy, if R. Kelly, tell me how many of y'all had a daddy like this? If R. Kelly had ever dated my sister, R. Kelly would be getting his prison sentence from a casket. Seriously, if R. Kelly had done half the stuff he did to those poor little girls, if my father was in the house, R. Kelly wouldn't even be breathing. There wouldn't even be no trial or no documentary. They'd be making a documentary about a dead man. Seriously. So ultimately, my point here is this. You know, there's a role. There are roles to some extent that men and women naturally gravitate toward. It does not mean that we're confined. It does not mean you can't be who you want to be. It does not mean anybody's telling you what to do. It just means that we kind of fit into our spot. You know, you put the little boys in the room, the little girls in the room. The boys might run toward the guns and the trucks. The girls might run toward the dolls and the tea houses. But it doesn't mean that there isn't a little girl who wants to play with the trucks or a little boy who wants to play with the dolls. All that's fine. All that's love. But there is a natural inclination that we have as men and women. And when you remove the role of the male, when you remove the role of the father, when you remove the role of the Black man, you're creating a different kind of community than the one you had, say, 100 years ago, when fathers were consistently connected to the family. All right. So anyway, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. And in fact, now an example that I'm thinking about is like Black Wall Street. Cody, who's coming into the Black Business School, he's going to do a real breakdown of Black Wall Street and what actually happened. He's going to teach a whole class on Black Wall Street. You really got to take it because there's so many things you don't know. One thing that he mentioned was that during the Black Wall Street massacre, one thing they never tell you, because they want you to think Black people are always the victim, is they didn't tell you all those hundreds of Black men who were gun-toting veterans who who got strapped up and were popping caps in the asses of these white men coming into their community. Did anybody ever tell y'all that side of the story? That these Black men were winning. They were winning the fight. They were trained soldiers. They were smart. They were strategic, and they were brave. They were protecting the community. You know, it doesn't mean women don't also have a role. We know that they have a role. Maybe there was a couple of women who picked up guns. But basically what happens in our society, I think, is we kind of want to act like it's normal when the men just aren't around. Or we want to act like it's normal when all the men want to wear dresses, or all the men just sit in the back and let the women do all the work. That's not normal. That's not how a normal community functions. So anyway, make sure you hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. More importantly, hit that notification bell. Make sure you hit the notification bell because I think the channel's a little bit shadow banned, because y'all know me, I get a little bit too extra black and that causes YouTube to go crazy. So hit that notification bell. That way you'll be notified. Put your B1 in the chat after you do those things. Put your B1 in the chat so we can move forward. Also, just a warning, there are scam accounts everywhere. I can't stop them all. There's so many fake Boyce Watkins accounts out there, and some of them will hit you up personally and say inbox me or connect with me, or try to connect with you on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever. That's not me. I love you, but I don't have time to inbox, the 3-4 million people that follow us online. That's not something I do. Okay, so I just want to warn you so that they don't come and get you. I just want to make sure you're safe. All right, so here's what I want to say. This kind of threw off some of my hardliner friends when I told them this. I wanted to go see that movie. I went to go see Black Panther 2 last night, and let me tell you a couple of reasons why I went to go see the movie. Number one, I am a black man who lives in a house full of girls, and I love my girls and I love my wife, and I want them to see things that encourage them to be empowered and intelligent. Right. And in Black Panther, it's heavily technology based. The women in there are kicking ass and taking names. I'm completely fine with my daughter seeing all this. Right. And also, I got a wife who comes to me sometimes and she's like, okay, boys, come on, let's go see this movie. And I'm like, I don't want to go see the movie. And she's like, come on, let's go see the movie. I'm like, okay, all right, okay. Because she looks so good. She's so pretty. I just literally melt when she walks in the room, so she can kind of talk me into anything. So, for the sake of my marriage, because I love my wife, I went to go see the movie. And I wanted to give it a chance anyway, because honestly, deep down, I told you, I like Marvel movies. I like so why would I boycott the Black Marvel movie and then go see like Ant-Man and Iron Man and all that? And so that don't make no sense, right? So I went to go see the movie. And I watched it with an open mind. And I'm going to start off by saying this. I like this movie. My wife and I like this movie a lot more than we like The Woman King. The Woman King was weird. The Woman King was, it had a lot of false narratives. The Dahomey tribe, a lot of people. See, you can't really outsmart the internet, because the internet is full of people that know how to do research. And they looked into the background of the tribe, and they basically found that Hollywood did what it does best, which is make up false stories and tell them as if they're true. So The Woman King kind of made us both sick. My wife disliked The Woman King more than I did. I didn't hate it. I was like, okay, it's a good movie. I'm a guy. I like to watch people kicking ass, and I like to watch things blow up and all that, right? Whereas she just was like, this movie is driving me crazy. I don't even want to be here. But so Black Panther 2 was kind of seen as like kind of a continuation to The Woman King. But I will say this: my wife and I did like the movie in the sense that it was a good movie. Ryan Coogler, shout out to him. He did a good job. If you want to go see the movie and you let go of the issues in terms of what's happening sociologically and the fact that Hollywood gets a little too political in terms of trying to shape people's world views, you can enjoy the movie. Like, it's good. It's a good Marvel movie. There's like, spaceships and bad guys and stuff blowing up and people fighting and all this stuff, right? So it fits that genre if you like that. Now, one of the things that's really interesting, though, if you want to really start picking in the weeds of the movie, is that every suspicion that you have about black men being sort of partially marginalized in exchange for kind of a Wonder Woman narrative, a lot of that is true. And when I watched that movie and also Woman King, both of these movies had kind of a similar theme, in my view, that matches what you see in the black community. Most of y'all, many of you probably grew up in a house where maybe the mother kind of ran everything. The mother was the chief and the king and the boss and everything else. For whatever reason, the daddy just wasn't there, either by choice or by her choice or by both of their choice. Nobody knows, right? So a lot of us grew up with mama and big mama kind of running everything. And then, so this is kind of the narrative presented in Woman King. It's the narrative presented in the Wakanda movie, in Black Panther 2. And so this was real. Like, this was, and then the black men were there. Like, there's one guy, I forgot his name. He's the big guy that would go, ooh, ooh, ooh. I forgot his name though. Y'all got to help me remember his name. But there was the big guy, and he was there, and he had a role in the film, but it wasn't like a dominant role. Like, he couldn't fight the bad guys by himself. he couldn't really match up equally with the bad guys. The bad guy was M'Baku, thank you. M'Baku, was a big, strong, burly black man, and he was rolling with the women. He was part of the Wakanda, but he couldn't match up with the Hispanic looking male who was the bad guy. When he and the bad guy went head to head, he punched M'Baku in the chest so hard that he damn near lost his life. Like, they showed it in slow motion, like, ooh, and he's like, and you're like, oh shit, he's gonna die. And then M'Baku flies back 100 yards because M'Baku could not match up with the man who was coming to conquer Wakanda. And so the only person that can match up was the Black Panther, who became a woman in this movie. I hope that's not too much of a spoiler. I think most of y'all knew that. So what really I saw in the movie was sort of like, definitely a lot of girl power, kind of a Black Wonder Woman sort of feel, which isn't necessarily all bad. But there's something about that, and I'm going to be honest with you. I hope I can say this and still be loved. There's something about that just concerns me because it reminds me too much of real life. When I watched The Woman King, it reminded me too much of real life. I remember, because in The Woman King, if you don't have to go see the movie, I'll just kind of tell you what happened. The women were the warriors. The women were the generals and carried the swords. I don't know what the hell the men were doing. Maybe they were either backup singers to the women, or they were just sitting at home like baking cookies and shit. I have no idea. And so there was a point where the general, the woman, and her daughter kill the villain, who was actually her the father of the girl. Right? That's how how they wrap the plots up in these movies, and they're like, oh shoot, he's the bad guy and he's the baby daddy, right? So at the end, the daughter and the mother get together and kill the father, right? Which to me, that was a little bit too close to home. I'm sorry, because do y'all know how many Black men? Maybe you know stories like this. Say something in the chat if you do. I've seen so many examples of Black men who are trying their hardest to get connected to their kids, and when they get there, nothing happens. There's no spark because the kids' minds have already been so poisoned against the dad. Has anybody ever seen it? The father has been murdered before he walks in the building? Because I'm gonna tell you like this: women have a lot of power. You have so much power over your children. If your mama tells you that the sky's purple and pink and that cotton candy rains on every Tuesday, your kids will believe that because you're the mother. Like, you're just the champion of truth in their mind, no matter how crazy or weird you might be. If you are, most of y'all aren't crazy and weird. You're intelligent Black people. But seriously, your kids believe everything you say. So if they see you, so it can be something real subtle. So if somebody brings up their daddy and the kid's watching, and then they say, yeah, well, Tyrone's coming over tomorrow, and you go, right? Well, the kid picks up on that. Okay, mama don't respect Tyrone, so I ain't got to respect Tyrone either. Or even in worse cases, you'll hear the mother that will take her pain and will pour that onto the child. So this poor little boy is carrying the pain of his mother, who's mad because the daddy didn't do whatever the mother wanted him to do. And next thing you know, when daddy comes around and tries to connect to the child's like, well, my mama don't respect you. I don't respect you neither. Y'all see some of this. Some of y'all may know this, but some of you who don't, I'm going to give you a little bit of Uncle Boyce. I hope it's okay. Give me a yes in the chat if it's okay for me to share an Uncle Boyce perspective. This is my point of view as a 51-year-old Black man based on what I have seen. This is not scientific. This is not a fundamental universal truth. There are other truths out there. I encourage you to hear them all. Let me tell you this. 9 times out of 10, if the mother does not respect the father, the children will not respect the father either. But if the mother tells the child that, this man is a great man, your daddy is an amazing guy, or it may not even be the daddy. It may just be some man that the mama's introducing the kids to. Oh, this is Pastor so-and-so. Oh, you do what he says because he's the smartest man I know. The kids are going to be like, oh, it's so great to meet you. Because I go through that every year when we have the All Black National Convention. We have a children's track where we educate the children on economics and stuff like that. They get kind of put to the side where they can almost like Bible school for children. Like, we kind of a lot of stuff we do is model after the way good churches are run. And I'll go in this room, and the children are so excited to meet me. They want my autograph. They want to take pictures with me. Well, why? Where does that come from? This doesn't happen everywhere I go where there are children. It happens in that room because these kids have heard their mothers or their fathers saying amazing things about me. So when the kids meet me, they're like, I don't know who the hell this dude is, but he must be something because my mama thinks he's the greatest, right? So ultimately, my point is to say that when you kill off the father, spiritually and psychologically, in terms of poisoning the mind of the child's going to carry that with them. So when I saw Woman King, that's what I saw. I saw the mother and the daughter banding together as if it's them against the world. How many times have you seen that? And they go and they kill off the dad. And it's like, it's just us two. You all I need. You're all I got, and you're all I need because we don't need that son of a bitch anyway. So here's where I challenge your thinking if you have an issue with what I'm saying. I'm not telling you to agree. We believe in freedom of thought here. So I want to make sure that's 100% abundantly clear. I want to respect your point of view. But I really want to ask you this question. Why is it that in our community, we have been convinced that a child can grow up with the mother and the father is not in the house? I'm not talking about non-custodial fathers. I think a father in the house is different from a father who lives down the block. I just believe that. I'm sorry. That's just my truth. Okay. Why do we think that a child can grow up with just the mom and no dad in the house every day and be perfectly normal, like perfectly fine? He grew up without daddy. He go, he all right. Okay, cool. But yet the idea of that child growing up without their mother is impossible to even imagine. Like literally, we have no problem understanding how a child not having their mother in the house is devastating. Like, oh, well, he grew up to become a serial killer. Well, he didn't have his mom in the house. Oh, well, that makes sense. And okay, yeah, shoot, I'd be ready to kill people too. Right? Seriously. Like, we really understand the value of the mother. We know what it feels like when Big Mama dies and the whole family falls apart, or Mama ain't there no more. Like mothers are that rock. We know this, right? But I really think it's interesting. I think we should explore the fact that we somehow concluded that when the mother's not there, it's devastating. But if the father's not there, it's like, it's okay. We'll get over it. The kids will be fine. The kids are okay, right? So what I would argue is that some of that damage lies underneath, right? I think it lies underneath. I think that Black women, I have no problem with the term strong Black woman because I think strength is a compliment. And I grew up around a lot of strong Black women. I had a grandma, Felicia. She's our Panther, actually. My grandmother, I named our Panther after my grandmother, Felicia, rest her soul, because she was the first person to teach me about economics. So that Panther literally is named Felicia. And my grandmother was so strong that she literally went to chemotherapy every day with her cancer, didn't tell nobody, and was getting up and going to work every day. Who the hell does it? Who gets chemotherapy and then goes to work and then don't tell nobody? Had nobody to share it with. I get sad when I think about how strong she had to be to do stuff like that. Right. I get sad about the fact that she was so stuck in this world by herself and had been convinced that that's just the way things are going to be. And that's where they have to be, that she had to become that person. She had to become the Black Panther. A lot of our grandmothers and a lot of our mothers have become the Black Panthers in our lives. I'm talking about those Black women. Y'all know them. Some of y'all are in this chat right now who literally are like taking care of the kids, getting them going to work, fighting with the white man every day. Paying all the bills, cooking all the food, also doing everything, all the extracurricular work for the pastor at the church. Like church needs extra volunteers. You volunteering for the church, helping the neighbors, taking care of other people's kids, like literally doing everything, absolutely everything. And this has become kind of a norm for Black people. It's become a norm. And so when we watch Black Panther and we see the women kind of like saying, okay, we got to shave our heads and pick up spears and fight, because for whatever reason, we just feel like it's all on us. We got to do it ourselves. That to me makes me feel some kind of way as a Black man, because I refuse to allow the world to convince anybody that I'm worthless. I refuse to let anybody think that. My wife can be as strong as she wants. She can be the warrior. She can do all kinds of stuff. If she shaved her head, I probably kind of would, kind of get mad at her about that. But I love her though. She's all right. But at the end of the day, I'm the warrior that's going to be beside her no matter what she's doing. You're not going to minimize my presence as the big, strong king that I am, just like I'm not going to minimize your presence as the beautiful, feminine creature that you are. And so I think ultimately this sort of Hollywood narrative is sort of pushing straight Black men to the back. They'll push the gay men in front. If you watch Woman King, there was a very prominent gay male character. And there was a lot of subtle, woman to woman relationship happening, in there. And they did a little bit of that in the Black Panther movie, not to the point where it was offensive, but to the point where it was real slick. They kind of threw it in there. They didn't have any examples that I recall of any heterosexual black love in the Black Panther movie, but they did have one little part where a lady comes up and kisses another one bald head lady kisses another one, and she says, "Thank you, my love," or something like that, right? And I don't even know. Maybe I misinterpreted. Maybe it was something other than what it was. I have no idea. But I think that this is not by accident. That's my point. This is not by accident. This is all by design. Hollywood. I knew a guy who used to write scripts for Disney movies, and I remember he explained to me how much work they put into writing just one line of the script. Literally one line, one scene, every emotion, every little thing is there for a reason. So ultimately you got to understand these movies are designed in a specific way to pursue a specific agenda. There is a design behind all this. Now do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. I want to remind everybody, number one, this podcast is on Spotify. So if you don't want to watch and you just want to listen, you can actually turn on Spotify, look up the Dr. Boyce Breakdown on Spotify or Apple or wherever you get your podcast, and the podcast is there. Also, this week in the Black Business School, Michelle Walker Davis is going to come in and do an amazing seminar on getting government contracts. So if you want to learn how to get government contracts, there's literally $1 trillion worth of government contracts out there. If you want to get your business in the government contract business, which is a great way to make extra money, then Michelle Walker Davis can show you all that. Just go to boycewatkins.com. There's a link there on all the seminars we have going on in the Black Business School. So Michelle Walker Davis' seminar. Also, I'm doing one on stock options on Thursday. So if those things interest you, just go to my website, boycewatkins.com. Or if you're on Instagram, hit the link in the bio. Hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Okay, so let's get back to, let's talk more specifically about Black Panther and my 2 cents on it. And I want to make this clear. I have to say this over and over again, because what happens is that people sort of create false narratives, especially for straight black men. They don't really want to know exactly what we think, because I don't think the world really cares what we think. And so what I have to do is reiterate repeatedly what I think, so that people don't misinterpret it, or those who do misinterpret it are just doing it on purpose. I do not dislike this movie. I thought it was a good movie. I like Marvel movies. I like Ryan Coogler. I liked all the actors and actresses that were in the film. I do not dislike this movie. However, I think that talking about the nuances of the film is extremely important. And so one thing I want to do is kind of give you sort of an example to help you understand how it might feel as a black male, as a straight black male, to watch a film where straight black men are kind of pushed to the side or kind of marginalized in some way in exchange for like bald-headed, spear-chucking black women who will kick anybody's ass, and the men are just kind of getting beat up too. Imagine this. Imagine if you, imagine if you had a husband, right? And we know that men and women can do whatever we want, right? But we have certain gender roles that kind of just pop up just because, right? For example, in our house, my wife does more cooking than I do. If I were doing all the cooking, everybody would be dead. When it comes to maybe breastfeeding, I can't breastfeed. My wife, if we had a baby, she would be doing all the breastfeeding. Or if we go out, to a dance, to a ball or something, I'm going to wear a suit. She's going to wear high heels. So imagine if you met a man who was kind of a modern man who said, you know what, we don't want to do gender roles. I'm going to choose the roles that I want. And then you're going to kind of fall in line with that. And you can do what you want. I'm going to do what I want. So imagine if every time you tried to cook, he was doing all the cooking, and you tried to come in the kitchen and he said, no, I don't want you in the kitchen. I'm cooking. Now, for a while, it's kind of cool, right? For a while, it's like, oh, that's so romantic. He's doing all the cooking. But then imagine if he just like didn't even want you in the kitchen. And every time you came in the kitchen, he just got mad that you were even there, and y'all were fighting over the pots and pans. And you would try to get him to cook what you want. And he told you, hell no, I'm running this, right? And then imagine if you have a baby together, and when the baby's born, he says, I know you want to breastfeed the baby, but they invented this new device that lets men. It's called the man milk maker, the 3M. The man milk maker allows me to put this device on my nipple, and I can artificially create some man milk, and the baby can, I can breastfeed the baby. So we don't need your titty. We don't need you. I got this. The man milk got this, right? So imagine that. I don't know how ladies would feel about that. And then imagine if you go out and you're about to go out to dinner, or you're about to go out to a formal event, and you put on your best dress with your high heels, and then your husband is wearing high heels too. And you're like, wait, you're not supposed to be wearing high heels. That's my job. And he's like, well, wait a minute. We have equality in this house. And I should be, if you can wear high heels and have a purse, I should be able to wear high heels and have a purse. In fact, why don't you wear the suit? I'll wear the high heels. How would you feel? Ladies, answer me in the chat. How would you feel? Would you feel like that's a great man, like a modern man, or would that kind of get on your nerves? What do you think? Give me an answer in the chat. Everybody answer in the chat. I'm gonna give you a chance to kind of think about it. What would you think about that? Would that be, is that a sexy man? Is that an appealing man? Is that the kind of man you want raising your kids? Or is that kind of a guy that you would kind of wonder if he has a mental health issue or if maybe he just wasn't quite for you? Like, come on, answer. Let's answer. I'm doing this example to make a point. I'm doing this example to help you understand how some black men feel when we're constantly being replaced. Again, I don't believe anybody should be constrained by gender roles, but my Lord Jesus, like, it's like, okay, so you're telling me that there's nothing I can do, like that, like I can't declare myself to be the big strong warrior king that's gonna protect the family. I got to sit back and watch my wife like become like the general and the chief and like that's not fun for me. I don't enjoy that. Like it's kind of like, okay, you know what, you get that, I'll get this over here. Like we are still teammates, but we ain't got to be teammates in everything. We ain't got to be doing all the same stuff. Maybe there's some stuff that I can do that's kind of my territory where I'm taking the lead over here. And then there's some stuff where you're going to take the lead over there. But some people misinterpret this. And this is what I would call feminism gone wild. Not that feminism is bad. Sometimes you need a little feminism because some of these men out here are stupid. Some of these men out here are very mean and ridiculous toward women. And you got to confront that, right? Absolutely, 100%. But when you get to the point where you're really sitting here trying to contrive all the ways that women can literally replace men and do everything men are doing, that's very insulting to men. That makes black men feel like, damn, like I got to fight to get a spot up in this mug. I got to go fighting my wife now because she's up here trying to be the dude. And so ultimately, again, imagine, to understand it, again, imagine if you had a man who was stepping into every single role that you naturally took as one. Every time you try to get in the mirror to look and see how pretty your hair and your makeup is, let's say he pushed you out of the way and was like, well, I deserve equal mirror time. And also I get to wear as much makeup as you because it's not fair that you get to wear makeup and I don't. Right. And then when you ask him to do some shit like fix the roof, you're like, honey, the roof is leaking. I need you to go fix the roof, or the oil needs to be changed in the car. He's like, well, I can't do any of that. Like, that's your job. You're like, you go change the oil. I'm going to go put on high heels and a dress while you go change the oil and fix the roof and take out the trash. That doesn't feel natural for some people. That feels a little bit weird. And I don't think that it's weird, that it does feel weird for you. See, the problem with Hollywood, to me, is Hollywood engages in a lot of what I refer to as social engineering. That's the term that will be used to describe that. That's when they give you something that doesn't feel quite natural, and they make you feel like that's supposed to be the norm. But I'm sorry, men and women doing exactly the same things and acting like gender doesn't exist, that ain't normal. It doesn't feel normal because it's not normal. And now, mind you, there are people. Here's the thing, though. You got to be careful because there are some people who are struggling. I really believe that there are some women who feel like they're trapped in a woman's body. They're a man trapped in a woman's body. I believe that there are men who feel deep down inside like they're a woman. And I think there has to be room for that. I really do. I think that there are people who are non-binary. Can you imagine that? I mean, the way those people get treated, like it's hard to have a relationship. Like, can you imagine for a minute that you literally, like if you're a man, imagine if you really deep down felt like you were a woman and you wanted to date another man and you don't even know where that came from. That just came to you, right? And I think that we have to have empathy for that, right? So I think that there's a way to have this discussion without being mean, without being like dismissive and disrespectful of people who are different. But I think that where the line has to be drawn is to stop letting people make you think that this is like the norm, that this is everybody. This ain't everybody. The majority of society is not non-binary. The majority of society is not women trapped in men's bodies. Hollywood will have you thinking that that's every other person. And I know that that's not true. So what I think is that black people, what I like about us as black people, intelligent black people, the ones that want to be intelligent, those of us that really think about these things, is that we're able to understand the difference between truth and bullshit. Like, I really do. I think that we are, and we're, because you're so strong and you're committed to your ideas, you're not as subject to the brainwashing. Well, why is that? Well, it's because you're conscious. All consciousness is it's awareness. It's where you start questioning things. You're like, wait a minute, that don't make no sense. Like, wait, you want me to put something in my body and I don't even know what it is? I'm not doing that. I'm not, just because you told me. But you're telling me to vote for somebody, but I'm not supposed to ask nothing about the policies, but you just want me to vote. That doesn't make any sense. And that's and all my whole job is to be a cheerleader for conscious, intelligent Black people to say, keep on keeping on, keep on going. You're not the weird one. You're the smart one. You're the canary in the mine. You're the smartest canary. The dumbass canaries are all going to blow up when the mine shaft falls apart. You're going to survive because you understand a little bit more about the world than other people do. And I encourage you to keep thinking, keep doing that. So anyway, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. I have a couple more thoughts about this Disney movie, Black Panther 2, and I'm going to share these thoughts and then I'm going to bounce them out for the rest of the day. So do me a favor also. If you want to also stay connected, you can actually text the word Boyce to 31996. And that's another way. That's kind of like a fallback option, just in case I don't know, in case they like shadow ban me or kick me off the internet for speaking my truth, because you know how they are. Propaganda's everywhere. So there's the phone number if you want to get on the text list. So feel free to get on the text list. And that way, if you ever hear like Dr. Boyce got banned from the internet, you'll know that I'll send you a text and we'll reconnect. I'll just say I got a new channel somewhere else and we'll connect that way. All right. So here's a couple more things about Black Panther 2. Black Panther 2, again, I want to say it. I have to say this over and over again because people will deliberately misinterpret what I say, because that's how political warfare works. They just make things up and whatever. They do that a lot to Black men. I did not dislike the movie. I know some of y'all might be offended that I went to see the movie. Well, I don't care what you think either. You can think what you want. I went to see the movie because I love my wife and I love my girls, and I don't have anything against Ryan Coogler or the cast of this film. If I'm going to go see Iron Man and the Incredible Hulk and all this other stuff, then why not go see Black Panther 2? The movie made a lot of money. I think that's great. That's good for them. Now, one of the things I want to warn you against, though, because you guys know my PhD is in finance and I'm a financial guy, and I want you to really understand this. That money that they made, be careful about how much pride you take and how much money this made, because I hate to break it to you, but that's not your money. That's not your money. That is not your money, and that is not your movie. That movie and that money, it all belongs to Disney. That is not your money. So anytime you see somebody posting about how proud they are that the Black Panther made $330 million worldwide, you're really kind of congratulating the white people who run the company. You're congratulating them. That was their touchdown, not yours. You're a cheerleader. You're a fan in the stands. You're not actually on the football team. You're not the coach. You're not the team owner. You're a fan. And I say that because I think that sometimes we mess up. We misinterpret the difference between a film that portrays Black characters versus a film that is actually a Black-owned movie. And what can also happen is that you can fall into the slave mentality of taking psychological ownership of something that is not truly yours. Almost like the babysitter who spends so much time with the children, the babysitter really thinks those are actually her kids. And those are not your kids. Your kids are at home. The kids that you had are at home being neglected because you're at the big house breastfeeding masses babies. Those are your kids over there. Your kids are hungry and starving. The kids that are fat and fed and full and doing well, those are masses kids. So the same thing is true when it comes to Black-owned businesses. Those are not your businesses. But there's not a single trademark that Disney filed. Disney probably filed hundreds of trademarks and copyrights on Disney characters. I mean, they're serious about this shit. They protect their money. Did you all know that Warner Brothers, who owns A Different World, the guy who played Ron from A Different World, Daryl Bell, who's a very good friend of mine. I love this brother a lot. Very smart, conscious, intelligent Black man. He told me that they actually trademarked and put a copyright on Whitley Gilbert's accent. Did y'all know that? You know, she used to talk like, "Hi, Dwayne," you know, that country accent. Do you know that she can't even do that accent in public without possibly being sued by Warner Brothers? How crazy is that? So they're protecting all of their intellectual property, and I doubt that any trademark that they filed was stated to say, this is for the benefit of the Black community, right? This is not, they didn't put your name on none of those trademarks. You don't own none of that. All those characters, Siri, T'Challa, and M'Baku and all that, when they got those trademarks, they did not put your name on any of that. That is their property. You know, they own all their characters. And so ultimately, be careful about how much pride you take in how much money this movie made, because what you're doing is you're congratulating Disney's shareholders. Now, I'm not 100% mad. I told y'all I'm a stockholder in Disney. I've owned Disney stock for many years. So we thank you for your contribution. Thank you very much for investing in our movie. I can say we and our because I am a shareholder in Disney stock. Ain't nothing wrong with that, right? I don't know if anybody else has ever bought Disney stock. I've actually recommended. It's not doing so great this year, but it's going to do better. Believe me, when the economy recovers and they finally sell off those crappy assets, the company's going to do better. But it's really so really, I need you to just kind of understand the difference. There are Black people out here that are making Black-owned movies with amazing Black characters that don't get very much attention because we're paying so much attention to whatever Disney's doing. And I just want to make sure that we show that proper respect. The last thing that's really important to just remember, and I know we know this, but sometimes you got to say it to help us know the obvious. Wakanda, I know y'all, some of y'all going to get sad when you hear this. It's going to break your heart. Wakanda's not a real place. Wakanda's not real. It's not. It's a concept. Wakanda, was created as a result of them doing like massive numbers of scientific surveys to determine like what would Black people, what can we put on screen that'll make Black people feel really good and really proud, like we actually accomplished something. Like Wakanda ain't real. Wakanda is fake as fuck. Like, I mean, I'm not saying it's not a great place. Like, I'm a scientist. I'm a professor. I love science and technology and engineering. I love all of that. All that's the coolest thing in the world. But that ain't real, man. And so I really think that we got to, now mind you, they do studies actually on this stuff when they study how to get money from Black people. If anybody ever watched that documentary, that film, How to Sell to the Negro, they study you. They really study you to figure out how to get your money. One thing that they found in their studies is that Black people love entertainment, and that Black people love entertainment. We love entertainers. We believe anything an entertainer tells us. That's why an entertainer can tell you to buy laundry detergent or to go get a jab or go vote for a certain politician. And a lot of us will do it because there's something about that escapism that makes us feel better about our, sometimes very depressing lives or stressful lives with microaggressions and everything else. Right. So ultimately, what I really see here is sometimes we get a little bit carried away and we start believing something's real when it's not. Now, I know most of y'all, everybody, give me a yes if you know that Wakanda's not real. Give me a yes. I'll probably tell you the obvious. Give me a yes if you agree and you understand Wakanda's not a real place, right? We know it's not real, but there's something about the imagination of the Negro. Like there's something about, or the magic of filmmaking. Let's say that, let's attribute it to that. I'm not going to make fun of us as Black people, but really there's something about it where people almost get to the point where they talk about Wakanda like it's a real place. And it's not. It's all made up. It's all this really delightful fantasy to watch on screen. And I think it has to be taken as such. And so I think that if you're inspired by Wakanda, I would turn to the real world and say, how do we create spaces that really give us the same feeling that we actually had in Wakanda when we were pretending to go to Wakanda? I think that there are places like that. When we did our All Black National Convention, I'm gonna tell you, it felt like Wakanda. It was full of super intelligent Black people doing amazing things. We had everybody from the activists up to the billionaires. We had billionaires there, literally. We had PhDs, professors, scientists, doctors, lawyers, fathers, mothers, like children, like this whole space. And white people weren't telling us what to do. And we were able to plan for the future. We were able to build the world that we want to see. And it was amazing, right? So there are places like that where you can get maybe Black Wall Street. Right, what was kind of a Wakanda, shout out to the people in Tulsa and Greenwood 100 years ago. And there've been other places that they built like this that really do give you that sense of freedom and power and love and intelligence and everything else that Wakanda gives you. So ultimately, what I would just say is that when you talk about Wakanda, it's just not real. And I think it's really important to kind of remember that. And also the other thing too is somebody says, yeah, but you don't make it accessible to all of us. You're talking about the All Black National Convention. You're right. I don't want the convention to be accessible to everybody because I don't want everybody there until they're ready. I just don't. I don't want to be in spaces that remind me of the niggatry that I see out in the world. I don't want to be in spaces where everybody worships rappers like they're the best. As smartest people in the world, because some of them are stupid. Some of them will get you killed. Some of them hate you and they hate your children. So I don't want to glorify people that hate the Black community. I don't want to glorify ignorance. I don't want to glorify disrespect of women. I don't want to glorify a culture that promotes drug addiction and alcoholism. I don't want to glorify a culture that promotes broken families. So you're right. It's not accessible to everybody. And if you remember in that movie, this is one thing that I have in common with the people that ran Wakanda. If you pay attention, what did Wakanda do? They didn't let everybody into Wakanda. They hid Wakanda. And that's the part where I agree 100%. When you find your Wakanda, when you create your special space, whether it's with your family, your friends, or your homies, or your business partners, or whatever, protect that space. Because all it takes is, because you notice in all the Black Panther movies, the reason that there was chaos is because somebody got into Wakanda who shouldn't have been there. Somebody came into Wakanda, snuck in, and brought some bad energy. Next thing you know, all hell breaks loose. So for some of you, that might be your family. Some of you, that's your circle. You got your little perfect Wakanda built, and then you meet somebody and you let them in because maybe the sex was good, or you let them in because you think that they have a lot of money, or you let them in because you didn't properly vet them. Next thing you know, your whole life is complete chaos. The peace that you had has been destroyed because you allowed the wrong energy into your special space. So you are 100% right. When it comes to like the All Black National Convention, we're limiting that. We're not trying to grow to have thousands and thousands and thousands of people. We have 500. We have a cap of 500 people, and we're going to sell out all those tickets probably by January. And I'm okay with that. I don't want everybody there because I really want to be around the people that are going to make my world into a better place, that are going to, where we can support each other and lift each other up. I'm tired of the nonsense. I don't even like the internet. I don't even watch the crap that's on the internet because it's so full of so many toxic people who are just spending all their time trying to figure out who they can bring down so they can get a come up. I don't participate in any of that. I don't even watch any of the videos. I've had videos done about me that have gotten hundreds of thousands of views, and I don't watch more than 10 seconds of any of them. I look at the title and I keep it moving. You cannot let anything disrupt your personal peace and your personal space. I encourage you to take that into account as you build the Wakanda in your own life. Wakanda can be real, but the one in Disney, that belongs to Disney. That belongs to us Disney shareholders. That ain't really yours. But you can build your own, and I encourage you to do that. All right, guys. So anyway, that's it. I hope that this conversation was helpful to you. I really enjoyed talking to you. I want to make sure it's taken in the spirit that it was intended. Ryan Coogler did a great job with the movie. The actors and actresses did a good job. I'm still standing by the fact that I think that the masculine, heterosexual Black males need to have more inclusion in these films. I don't really like the idea of women feeling like they have to do everything. But that's just my 2 cents. I'm not the filmmaker, so it's, who cares what I think. But last but not least, don't forget this podcast is on Spotify. So if you look up the Dr. Boyce Breakdown on Spotify, you can find it there. Also, don't forget this week on Thursday, I'm doing a training on how to invest in stock options. On Wednesday, we have Powernomics training. That is free to the community. That is part of the Dr. Boyce Book Club. So anybody who wants to understand Powernomics, I train you every Wednesday night at 8:30. I've done probably about 300 lectures on Powernomics, probably maybe 400 or 500 by now. And there you can join us every Wednesday night. I want everybody to understand this is totally free. The options training is not free, but you'll get 100 times more value than what you invest. And then last but not least, on Friday, Michelle Walker Davis is going to be training on how to get government contracts. There's $1 trillion out there in government contracts. So if you want to find ways to make that money, well, go get the money from your government because that money is owed to you anyway. All right, guys. So all that information is on boycewatkins.com. So just go to boycewatkins.com and you can find information about all of that. If you're on Instagram, the link is in the bio. Thank you guys for listening. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out. I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Please have a wonderful day. See you soon. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to co-sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.